Hello and welcome to etnow.in Realty Conclave and Awards. Today we have with us Miss Ayushi Ashar. She's from Ashar Group. Hi ma'am, how are you doing today?
All good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good ma'am. My first question for you would be, what is your outlook for MMR's Mumbai metropolitan region's growth in the next 3 to 5 years?
I think the growth looks super strong for
Okay.
MMR. A big part of that is, that it's part of India's growth and consumption story. And as India is growing, real estate kind of becomes one of the first anchors where people want to invest. And MMR kind of is the hub for that. So I think the residential segment will really see strong demand in the coming few years. Another thing that I feel will happen is premiumization of real estate and a lot of brands coming in who, with on-time delivery, with certain quality branded residences, they're able to command certain premiums. And people are also willing to pay for that because they understand the difference between a branded development and an ordinary development. So I see that difference becoming a little bit more stark. And I also see a lot of other verticals gaining pace, whether it's commercials performed really well. You see warehousing doing well. Co-living is a huge asset class
Yes.
that's picking up in MMR. So all of these different asset classes are also picking up pace, which means MMR is becoming a more mature market overall. And a huge part of that is because India's growth story is on the rise.
Well, how has Usher Group, in that sense, evolved in 24 months, in the past 24 months or 2 years? Can you shed your light on the projects, the micro markets and categories that you have gone into?
So in the past 2 years, we have focused extensively on expanding our portfolio. So we've completed projects across Thane, Mulund, Ghatkopar, and as recent as 2 weeks ago in Pali Hill. Uh, we have given more than, I'm losing count, but I think over 2,000 apartments that we've completed in the past 2 years, which again really fortifies our stand on timely delivery and quality product. More than anything, I think we've really expanded into the premium segment as well with Ghatkopar, with our Pali Hill project, also a lot into the social infra space. So all of these projects have really kind of trained our teams internally and the whole organization into what it really takes to construct a luxury project. Luxury just by giving large floor
Yeah.
plates and 3,000 square feet, 5,000 square feet, that's not true luxury.
Yeah.
True luxury starts from the design, from the materials used inside and outside. And how do you deal with marble? How do you deal with so much quantum of stone that we have used in Pali Hill? It's about 110,000 square feet of stone, all that we've imported, customized designs. So the organization learns a lot through all of those things. And I have to say that now they're ready for any any kind of, as my team says it, they're ready to create any Taj Mahal that's
Oh, okay.
that
That's
comes
great.
their way.
Well, you've also started a new venture, I would call it, Urban Futures Lab. Can you elaborate on what it could be and what it is right now?
So it's at a very early stage right now. We have just launched it a couple weeks ago. We're actually rolling out applications next week. But what Urban Futures Lab would do is it's a venture studio focused on the built world and focused on innovation in real estate and the urban ecosystem. What we see overall is that innovation in the, like, we're still constructing, building everything from the way it was 20 years ago. Everything is still almost the same today. Tech has had crazy headway in terms of you've right from having not having a mobile phone to Google to Facebook, Instagram, now AI. You see so much innovation in the past 20 years, but real estate has more or less remained the same, except certain e-commerce platforms, like you have your 99 acres and housing.com, even infra.market, that has done really well. But true innovation in the urban ecosystem, I feel that's missing. And that's what UFL kind of aims to focus on. The idea is that if we as developers, which is often the most, the most difficult juncture for any founder to crack, is they spend 6 months, 9 months going to a developer trying to convince them about the product that they want to sell. But if we as developers kind of take on that initiative to innovate and become co-builders with the founders themselves, then we can really crank out what it takes a startup founder 3 to 5 years to accomplish. We can crank it down in maybe 6 months, 1 year, because we're that focused on building a solution. So we believe that we have the expertise in terms of knowing what specific problem statements exist. We have the network access. We have the pilots where you can really test the products or the solution or the tech. We have the customer base that you can again test it on. So keeping all of those things in mind, UFL seemed to be the right, it seemed to be the right timing to introduce a venture studio where we're really kind of focusing on the future of cities and how we're going to live and work in these urban environments.
Well, that's great. But at what point did you actually realize that it was not enough to build just real estate? It needed more innovation, the sector entirely.
I think I've spent now about 7.5 years in the real estate ecosystem. And in these 7.5 years, I've been fortunate to cover the whole gamut from residential, commercial. We've done a huge Mandir project recently, luxury real estate, so covered the entire gamut. But I still feel as a developer, you're often restricted by geography. And the thought was, how do we utilize and kind of capitalize on all the asset that we have created? Asset, by that I don't mean just physical asset, but also organizational, expertise that we have developed over the years. How do we take that to the next level? And how can we really create an urban impact beyond just 1, 2, 3, 4 BHK? And I think where I found UFL was, we were kind of sitting in my office and we have 3 godowns, which is just completely filled with dead stock of materials, surplus materials. And I spent 3 months in the summer just trying to get my team to clear it out. It's that much of junk that we had. Which was all actually really good material. But just complete negligence, because we're so caught up in our daily life that, ek side se aata hai and it just goes in, go down mein dal do, go down mein dal do. And we're pretty mindful as developers about, about cost, about quality, about wastage. We're pretty mindful. And if that happens with us, that's kind of the condition in the ecosystem. And so similarly, while I was thinking about that, I sort of I started seeing a lot of inefficiencies, and I took a 10-day break from traditional real estate. And I was like, there are a lot of different pain points that exist that no one is solving for, that we kind of have the privilege to see firsthand as to what these problem statements are. So I didn't want to be a passive investor in, some one fine day a founder will maybe identify this solution and start working on it and I become a passive investor. I didn't want that. I wanted to play an active role in kind of building these solutions, because I genuinely feel it will change the way we function as developers and also the way we kind of look at cities and our infrastructure solutions. And not everything has to be, a wait and watch, that the government will come in and change something and someone else will come in with a different solution. That initiative, I think we as developers have the privilege and ability to take, and I think it was about time to capitalize on that.
Well, why do you think India actually needs a venture studio in the built environment space?
Venture studio specifically, because I'll go back a little bit. So there are funds that exist, there are accelerator programs. All of that, as I said, are passive in nature. Why a venture studio works out is because, and just 2 days ago, I was sitting with my marketing team and they coined this term, end to end, side by side, which means we're with you end to end. and side by side all through it, providing you the pilot, providing you right from identifying what the problem is. You may be a founder who's interested in the built world, or just interested in creating an entrepreneurial venture of yourself, but you don't know what is that white space. And in the built world, it's the bureaucracy comes in. You feel there's too much policy. There's so many kind of almost like red flags that you feel that let me just go into the tech avenue. It seems simpler
Yeah.
than entering into a real estate or urban built world type of solution. The point is that we cut out those, kind of initial hurdles.
Okay.
And that's where this idea came in, that if we can cut out those hurdles and really provide you with the right that this is the problem statement, provide you with the capital, provide you with the pilot access, provide you with everything that you need to build the solution out, then that's a much better way to really see deployment happen. Where things get stuck is distribution and deployment. And that's where Ashar's entire portfolio strength comes in to help you propel that idea further. So it doesn't just get stuck at a prototype stage. We're in it with you to build it into a scalable business.
So how is UFL actually different from other traditional VCs or say accelerators?
So as I said, traditional VCs and accelerators provide you with capital. A lot of VCs sometimes don't have real estate domain expertise or the type of policy level networks that UFL would have. Accelerators again provide you mentorship, but it's shorter programs, and they provide you that mentorship for that duration, and then after that you're again kind of on your own. Here we're ideating with you, so we're discovering the problem with you, we're building it out with you, building multiple layers of solution, and then we're scaling it with you. So again, it's instead of having XYZ person as a co-founder, you're kind of taking all of our expertise and UFL as a co-founder in your venture. And that's where the difference lies.
So
that it's as much ours as it's yours, and we want to see it till the end of life.
Right. So what kind of founders and partners are you working towards collaborating with in the future?
So again, UFL doesn't, although right now it's our baby, but I don't feel and believe that this type of urban innovation exists in a silo, that it's something that just, Ashar can do. We want to get in the right partners, advisors, mentors, venture scouts, founders. So the idea is to create a whole ecosystem where innovation can thrive. So if I'm talking about founders specifically, we're looking at people who have the right technical expertise or some technical exposure to real estate, or are second-time founders, or have had certain inclination towards building out tech solutions, consumer-facing solutions, and that ability to kind of understand complex problems and then build out tech-based solutions. So that's kind of the endeavor in terms of the founders we're looking at. But apart from that, there's a huge network of advisors, mentors, venture scouts that will kind of back the growth of all of these founders.
Well, we spoke about how do you see real estate sector expanding. Now, talking about your firm itself, how do you see Ashar Group? Where do you see Ashar Group and UFL in the next 5 years?
For Ashar Group, we're completely on a growth path. We're very excited to expand our real estate portfolio across the MMR geography. So we're venturing into central and western heavily. Thane has always been our home ground. It will continue to be. But we're expanding into central and western suburbs. Sure. We're also expanding into different verticals of real estate. So we're going big on warehousing and co-living. I think those are the two that we're placing our bet on for the next 2 years. And we think we can create considerable impact there. In the next few months, we're just about to launch one of the largest co-living assets in the Ville Parle area. more details later, but
Yeah.
that's again an exciting project. We have a township in Dombivli that's coming up, that's about 80 acres.
Okay.
We have a bungalow scheme, and again an education complex coming in Lonavala, about 80 acres. So a lot of diversification across verticals, beyond real estate, beyond residential, which we're
Residential
excited
projects,
about. For UFL, I think in 5 years, the biggest metric would be to see the type of impact that our portfolio companies are having on the daily life of everyone uses it. It doesn't have to be just a real estate solution. It can be a parking solution. It can be a waste management solution. It can be a material alternative. It can be a vertical logistic solution. So the gamut is really large, and that's the most exciting part of it. And the goal is in the next 5 years, we hopefully have at least 10 to 15 companies at our portfolio level that will reach a certain scale and are on the path to creating long-term impact in the ecosystem.
Well, certainly, I hope whatever your aspirations are, they come true, and all the best for the future. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you
Thank
for
you so
talking
much.
to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.